Hi, I'm Mr. Simons. Here we go again with fiscal policy. In this video, we're going to look at the third bullet point here, which is effects of budget changes, also known in more fancy terms as budgetary changes. So let's have a look at this first point. How does fiscal policy affect economic activity? So think about the possible stances of fiscal policy. An expansionary fiscal policy stance involves lower tax revenue and or an increase in government expenditure. So it would be here, lower tax revenue and or increased government spending. So this is going to increase economic growth. An expansionary stance of fiscal policy is going to increase economic growth. If I think about a contractionary stance, that involves an increase in tax revenue and or a decrease in government spending. And that's going to lead to lower economic growth. So a contractionary stance will slow down the economy. And a neutral, well, nothing changes. It's just going to continue from where it was before. So that was how fiscal policy affects economic activity in very simple terms. Let's have a look at how fiscal policy affects resource use. So fiscal policy, remember fiscal policy, the use of the federal budget, changes how resources are allocated in an economy. And it does that directly and indirectly. So for example, remember discretionary spending, deliberate spending. If the government chooses to spend more money on a Western Sydney airport, a new Western Sydney airport, that will require the government to allocate resources to this project. So it will have to allocate land or labour or capital, all those sorts of things, which will then in turn attract more resources to that project. But the government starts this process. The other thing is that if a government, say, removes taxes, or reduces taxes, but removes is a good example. The government can encourage investment in certain industries. So it encourages resource to those industries because it's cheaper to produce in those industries. On the flip side, a new tax will discourage resources because it's more expensive to produce. So fiscal policy changes will directly affect where resources go in an economy. That's pretty bad. Let's try that again. Will directly affect where resources go in an economy. So the final point here is, how does fiscal policy affect income distribution? In an overall sense, Australia uses a progressive tax system, which is basically the more you earn, the greater proportion of your income you pay in tax. And that's designed to create a more equal distribution of income. The government can also change the rates of tax to affect income distribution. For example, if the government reduces the highest marginal rate of tax, that will give higher income earners more money, and that will worsen income inequality. Or if the government reduces the rate of GST, well, we know that people on lower incomes pay a higher proportion of their tax, pay a higher proportion of their income in GST because they spend more, higher NPS. So if the government reduces the GST, then that could improve income equality. Also, if you think about it, if the government uses the budget to increase welfare spending, well, that can help increase the incomes of those on lower incomes and improve income equality or reduce income inequality. So the government can use the budget to change the tax rates and also to change welfare programs that might have a big impact on how income is distributed in the Australian economy. So thanks for watching. Why don't you leave a comment, tell me what you think, maybe you got some questions. Think about subscribing so you can get the freshest economic content as soon as it's released on this channel. And why don't you check out one more video I recommend this one. Thanks for watching.